My husband does not know my real name. My name is not Chloe. I changed it to escape my past. But yesterday, my past knocked on our front door. I am 28 years old. I live in a quiet town. I live in a small, pretty house. The house has a red door. The house has big windows. I planted white flowers in the front yard. I live here with my husband. His name is Mark. Mark is a good man. Mark is a kind man. He has a warm smile. He has gentle hands. Mark thinks he knows everything about me. He thinks he knows my favorite color. My favorite color is green. He is right about that. He thinks he knows my favorite food. My favorite food is pasta with cheese. He is right about that too. He thinks he knows my favorite season. I love the summer. The sun makes me happy. He knows this. But Mark does not know my real name. When Mark looks at me, he says, "Good morning, Chloe." When Mark calls me on the phone, he says, "Hello, Chloe." All my friends in this town call me Chloe. The woman at the supermarket calls me Chloe. The mailman calls me Chloe. But Chloe is a fake name. It is a mask. It is a hiding place. My real name is Sarah. Carrying a secret is very hard. A secret is like a heavy rock. You carry it in your pocket. You carry it in your heart. You carry it every single day. You wake up with it. You go to sleep with it. Sometimes I look in the bathroom mirror. I see my face. I see brown hair. I see brown eyes. I say to myself, "You are Chloe." But my heart says, "No, you are Sarah." Why did I change my name? Why did I lie to my good husband? I will tell you. I will tell you everything. Many years ago, I did not live in this quiet town. I lived in a big city. The city was very loud. The city was very crowded. There were many cars. There were many tall buildings. The air was gray. The streets were dirty. I was very young. I was 20 years old. I was alone. I did not have a family to help me. My mother died when I was a child. My father was not in my life. I was completely alone. Maybe you know how that feels. Maybe you feel alone sometimes too. It is a very cold feeling. It is hard to be alone in a big world. But you are strong. You can survive. I survived. In the big city, I was very poor. I did not have money for nice clothes. I did not have money for good food. I lived in a very small apartment. The apartment was dark. It was cold in the winter. It was too hot in the summer. I had a hard job. I worked in a diner. I washed dishes. I carried heavy plates of food. I cleaned dirty tables. I worked for 10 hours every day. My feet hurt. My back hurt. The boss was a mean man. He shouted a lot. He never said thank you. I was very tired. I was very sad. Then I met Leo. Meeting Leo was the biggest mistake of my life. I was working at the diner. It was late at night. The diner was empty. Leo walked in. He wore a nice black coat. He had shiny black hair. He smiled at me. He looked handsome. He looked kind. But looks can trick you. A smiling face can hide a bad heart. Leo started to talk to me. He asked me about my day. He listened to me. Nobody ever listened to me before. He bought me a cup of coffee. He said I was beautiful. He made me feel special. I was young. I was lonely. I wanted a friend. I wanted someone to care about me, so I trusted him. We became friends. Then he became my boyfriend. At first, everything was nice. He took me to restaurants. He bought me flowers. I thought I was lucky. I thought my dark life was finally bright. But slowly, everything changed. Leo was not a good man. He did not have a normal job. He did bad things for money. He hurt people. He stole things. He was angry all the time. If I talked to a friend, he got angry. If I came home late from work, he got angry. He yelled at me. He broke my dishes. He threw my clothes on the floor. I was scared. I was so scared all the time. My home was not a safe place. My home was a scary place. He took my money. Every week, I got my pay from the diner. Every week, Leo took the money from my hand. I will keep it safe, he said, but he spent it. He spent my hard work. I had nothing. One day, I told him I wanted to leave. I told him I did not want to be with him anymore. Leo looked at me. His eyes were cold. His eyes were dark. He grabbed my arm. He squeezed my arm very hard. It hurt. "You can never leave me, Sarah," he said in a low voice. "If you leave me, I will find you. I will hurt you. You belong to me." I cried. I felt like a bird in a small cage. The cage was locked. I could not fly away. I thought my life was over. I thought I would die in that dark city with that bad man. I was hopeless. I was weak. Have you ever felt weak? Have you ever felt like you cannot take one more step? It is okay to feel that way. Life can be very heavy. Life can be very scary. But inside you, there is a small fire. The fire is your hope. The fire is your strength. You just have to find it. I found my fire on a rainy Tuesday night. Leo came home very late. He was very tired. He drank a lot of alcohol. He fell asleep on the sofa. He was snoring loudly. I looked at him. I looked at the door. I looked at my small, sad life. I made a choice. I decided to run away. I decided to live. I wanted to be free. I wanted a quiet life. I wanted to wake up and not feel afraid. I moved very slowly. I did not make a sound. I took a small blue bag from the closet. I packed 2 shirts. I packed 1 pair of pants. I packed clean socks. I packed a warm sweater. I looked for my money. I knew Leo hid some money in a coffee can in the kitchen. I walked to the kitchen on my toes. I opened the cabinet. I took down the coffee can. I opened the lid. There were some green bills inside. It was not a lot of money, but it was enough for a bus ticket. It was enough to run away. I took the money and put it in my pocket. I did not take my phone. A phone is a map. A bad person can use a phone to find you. I left my phone on the table. I opened the front door. The door made a small squeak. My heart stopped. I looked back at Leo. He did not move. He was still sleeping. I walked out. I closed the door behind me. I ran down the stairs. I did not wait for the elevator. I ran down 3 flights of stairs. I ran out into the street. It was raining. The rain was cold and wet. The street lights were glowing in the dark. I ran as fast as I could. My shoes hit the wet ground. Splash, splash, splash. I did not look back. I just ran. I was terrified. But I was brave. You can be terrified and brave at the same time. Being brave means you are scared, but you do it anyway. I ran to the big bus station. The station was bright. There were many people sleeping on benches. I went to the ticket window. A tired woman was sitting behind the glass. "Where to?" she asked. I looked at a big map on the wall. I wanted to go far away. I wanted to go to a place with sunshine. I saw a name on the map. The name was Sunnyville. It sounded warm. It sounded safe. "1 ticket to Sunnyville, please," I said. My voice was shaking. She took my money. She gave me a small paper ticket. "The bus leaves in 10 minutes. Gate number 4, she said. I walked to gate number 4. A big silver bus was waiting. I climbed the stairs of the bus. I sat in a seat near the back. I sat near the window. The engine started. Vroom. The bus began to move. We drove out of the station. We drove out of the big, loud city. I looked out the window. The tall buildings became small. Then they disappeared. I closed my eyes. I put my head against the cold window. I was exhausted. I was so tired. I fell asleep. I slept for many hours. When I woke up, the bus was stopping. I opened my eyes. The rain was gone. The sky was blue. The sun was shining brightly. I looked outside. There were no tall buildings. There were green trees. There were small houses with nice gardens. There were birds flying in the sky. It was beautiful. It was Sunnyville. The bus doors opened. I stepped out onto the sidewalk. I took a deep breath. The air smelled sweet. It smelled like grass and fresh dirt. It did not smell like smoke and dirty streets. I had my small blue bag. I had very little money left. I had no friends. I had no home. But I was free. I smiled for the first time in a very long time. I started to walk down the main street. I needed a job. I needed a place to sleep. I walked past a post office. I walked past a bank. I walked past a flower shop. Then I smelled something wonderful. I smelled warm sugar. I smelled melting butter. I smelled fresh bread. My stomach made a loud noise. I was very hungry. I looked at the building. It was a bakery. It had a big glass window. Inside, there were many cakes and breads. The sign above the door said, "Sweet Treats Bakery." There was a piece of paper on the door. It said, "Help wanted. Ask inside." This was my chance. I pushed the door open. A small bell rang. Ding. The bakery was warm. It smelled amazing. Behind the counter stood an old woman. She had silver hair. She wore a white apron with flour on it. She looked very kind. She looked like a grandmother. "Hello, dear," the old woman said. Her voice was soft. "Can I help you?" "Hello," I said. "I saw the sign on the door. I am looking for a job." The woman looked at me. She looked at my messy hair. She looked at my small blue bag. She looked at my tired eyes. I think she knew I was in trouble. Kind people always know. "I am Mrs. Green," she said. "I own this bakery. I need someone to help me clean. I need someone to help me serve the customers. It is hard work. You have to wake up very early. Can you work hard?" "Yes," I said quickly. "I am a hard worker. I can clean very well. I can learn anything." Mrs. Green smiled. "Good. You can start today. What is your name, dear?" I froze. I stopped breathing. What is my name? If I said Sarah, Leo might find me. Sarah was the girl in the dark city. Sarah was the weak girl. Sarah was the scared girl. I did not want to be Sarah anymore. Sarah was dead. I looked around the bakery. I looked for an idea. On the counter, there was a small jar of honey. The label on the jar said, "Chloe's Sweet Honey." I looked back at Mrs. Green. I stood up straight. I made my voice strong. "My name is Chloe," I said. Mrs. Green smiled again. "Welcome to the bakery, Chloe. Let us get to work." And just like that, I became a new person. The old name was gone. The new life began. Life in Sunnyvale was very simple. It was a good, simple life. Mrs. Green was very kind to me. She let me rent a small room above the bakery. It was a tiny room. It had a bed, a small table, and a window. But it was safe. It was clean. It was mine. Every morning, I woke up at 4 o'clock. It was very early. The sky was still dark. The stars were still shining. I went downstairs to the kitchen. Mrs. Green and I turned on the big ovens. We made bread. We made white bread. We made brown bread. We made soft rolls. We made big cakes. We made chocolate chip cookies. I learned how to measure flour. I learned how to mix sugar and eggs. I loved the feeling of the dough in my hands. It was soft. It was warm. By 7 o'clock in the morning, the bakery was full of wonderful smells. We opened the front doors. The customers came in. I stood behind the counter. I wore a clean white apron. I wore a name tag. The name tag said Chloe. "Good morning," I said to the people. "How can I help you?" The people in the town were friendly. They smiled. They talked about the weather. They talked about their children. They called me Chloe. "Thank you, Chloe," they said. "Have a nice day, Chloe," they said. Every time I heard the name Chloe, I felt a little stronger. I felt a little safer. The dark city felt very far away. Leo felt like a bad dream. I worked very hard. Hard work makes your mind quiet. Hard work makes your body tired in a good way. If you have a problem, sometimes working hard can help. It gives you focus. It gives you purpose. I saved my money. I bought new clothes. I bought simple dresses and soft sweaters. I started to look healthy. My face was not pale anymore. My eyes were not sad anymore. I laughed with Mrs. Green. We drank tea in the afternoons. I was happy. I was really happy. I thought the past was dead forever. I thought life would always be this easy. But life is a long road. You never know what is around the corner. 6 months passed. It was a Tuesday. The sun was shining. The bakery was quiet in the late morning. The bell on the door rang. Ding. A man walked in. He was tall. He had light brown hair. He wore a blue shirt. He had very kind blue eyes. He walked to the counter. He looked at the cakes. Then he looked at me. He smiled. His smile made my heart beat a little faster. "Hello," he said. His voice was deep and warm. "I would like a large coffee, please, and a blueberry muffin." "Of course," I said. I poured the hot coffee into a cup. I put a fresh muffin in a small paper bag. I gave them to him. He looked at my name tag. "Thank you, Chloe. I am Mark. I just moved to this town. I work at the bank down the street." "Welcome to Sunnyvale, Mark," I said. "This bakery smells amazing," he said. "I think I will come here every day." He did come every day. Every morning at 8 o'clock, Mark walked into the bakery. He always ordered a large coffee. He always ordered a blueberry muffin. We started to talk. We talked about books. We talked about dogs. We talked about music. He told funny jokes. He made me laugh loudly. I always looked at the clock, waiting for 8 o'clock. I wanted to see him. One Saturday, he did not ask for coffee. He asked me a question. "Chloe, you work very hard," he said. "Are you free tomorrow afternoon? I would like to take you for a walk in the park and maybe buy you some ice cream." My cheeks felt hot. I was shy. I was nervous, but I was happy. "I would like that very much, Mark," I said. Our first date was wonderful. We walked in the big green park. The trees were tall. The leaves were moving in the wind. Children were playing on the grass. We ate chocolate ice cream. We sat on a wooden bench. We talked for hours. Mark was different from Leo. Mark was soft. Mark was patient. He did not shout. He did not want to control me. He asked me about my dreams. He listened to my answers. When he looked at me, I felt beautiful. When he held my hand, I felt safe. His hand was warm. His fingers were gentle. We started dating. We spent all our free time together. We cooked dinner together. We watched movies together. We went to the lake and fed the ducks. I fell in love with him. I loved him very much. But there was a problem. The heavy rock was in my pocket. The heavy rock was in my heart. The secret. Mark loved Chloe, but Chloe was not real. I wanted to tell him the truth. Many times, I opened my mouth to say, "Mark, my real name is Sarah." I ran away from a bad man, but the words stopped in my throat. I was terrified. I thought, if I tell him the truth, he will think I am a liar. He will think I am a bad person. He will leave me. I cannot lose him. Fear is a very strong chain. It stops you from doing the right thing. I let fear win. I kept my mouth closed. I kept the secret inside me. I pushed it down, deep down. I tried to forget it. Time passed quickly. 1 year turned into 2 years. One evening, Mark and I were walking by the river. The sun was going down. The sky was pink and orange. It was very beautiful. Mark stopped walking. He turned to me. He took both of my hands in his hands. He looked into my eyes. He looked very serious. "Chloe," he said softly, "you are the best thing in my life. You make me happy every single day. I do not want to live without you." He reached into his pocket. He took out a small red box. He opened the box. Inside was a beautiful ring. It had a small, shiny diamond. It sparkled in the sunset light. "Will you marry me, Chloe?" he asked. Tears filled my eyes. Happy tears, sad tears, guilty tears, all mixed together. I looked at his kind face. I could not say no. I wanted to be his wife more than anything in the world. "Yes, Mark," I whispered. "Yes, I will marry you." He smiled a big smile. He put the ring on my finger. He kissed me. It was a perfect moment. But a tiny voice in my head said, "You are a liar. You are wearing a fake name." We had a beautiful wedding. We did not have much money, so it was small. We got married in the park near the river. The grass was very green. The flowers were blooming. Mrs. Green made our wedding cake. It was a huge white cake with yellow sugar flowers. It tasted like heaven. I wore a simple white dress. I bought it from a small shop in town. I wore white shoes. I held a bunch of pink roses. Mark wore a dark blue suit. He looked so handsome. We promised to love each other forever. We promised to be honest. When I said the word honest, my heart hurt. I was not honest, but I pushed the pain away. I smiled for the camera. After the wedding, we bought the small house with the red door. It is the house we live in now. We made a beautiful home together. We painted the living room yellow. Yellow is a happy color. We bought a big, soft sofa. We bought a small dog from the animal shelter. His name is Buddy. Buddy has floppy ears and a wagging tail. He sleeps on my feet when I read books. My life was perfect. I stopped working at the bakery every day. Mrs. Green hired a new young girl. I only helped on busy weekends. The rest of the week, I stayed home. I cleaned our nice house. I cooked wonderful dinners for Mark. I walked Buddy in the park. I finally felt completely safe. I thought the universe forgot about Sarah. I thought Leo was gone forever. I stopped looking over my shoulder. I stopped having nightmares. I lived in the light. I thought life was easy now. But a house built on a lie is a weak house. A strong wind can blow it down. Yesterday, the strong wind came. Yesterday was a quiet afternoon. The weather was bad. The sky was very dark. Big gray clouds covered the sun. It started to rain. The rain hit the windows hard. Tap, tap, tap. The wind blew loudly through the trees. Whoosh. Mark was not home. He was at the bank. He always works until 5 o'clock. I was in the warm kitchen. I was making chicken soup for dinner. I chopped carrots. Chop, chop, chop. I chopped onions. I put them in a big pot with chicken and water. The soup smelled very good. It made the house feel cozy. Buddy the dog was sleeping on the rug. The television was playing quietly in the living room. It was a normal, peaceful day. Then the peace shattered. I heard a sound. It was not the rain. It was not the wind. It was a sound at the front door. Knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks. Buddy woke up immediately. He ran to the front door. He started to bark loudly. Woof, woof, woof. The hair on his back stood up. I stopped stirring the soup. I wiped my hands on my towel. I felt a sudden cold feeling in my stomach. I do not know why. We get visitors sometimes. The mailman brings packages. The neighbor comes to borrow sugar. But this knock felt different. It felt angry. Quiet, Buddy, I said. It is okay. But Buddy did not stop barking. He growled at the red door. I walked slowly to the front door. The hallway was a bit dark. The rain continued to fall outside. Our front door has a very small window near the top. You can look through it to see who is outside. I stood on my toes. I put my face close to the cold glass. I looked out. My blood turned to ice. My breath stopped in my throat. My legs felt like jelly. A man was standing on the porch. He was getting wet from the blowing rain. He wore a dark jacket. His hair was wet and flat against his head. He looked older. He looked tired. He looked mean. It was Leo. He was here, at my beautiful, safe house, with the red door and the white flowers. The monster from the dark city found me. How did he find me? I do not know. The world is small now. The internet is everywhere. Maybe someone took a picture of me at the bakery. Maybe someone put the picture online. Maybe he saw it. Bad luck happens. But it did not matter how. He was here. Panic exploded in my chest. My heart beat so fast it hurt. Thump, 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 thump. I stepped back from the door. I covered my mouth with my hand so I would not scream. He hit the door again. Much harder this time. Bang, bang, bang. I know you are in there, Sarah, he shouted. His voice was loud and rough. It sounded exactly the same. The voice from my nightmares. He called me Sarah. The name sounded strange in this house. The name sounded dirty. Open the door, Sarah, he yelled. I saw you looking. Open the door right now. I was shaking. I was shaking from my head to my toes. I reached out and turned the lock on the door. Click. I locked the deadbolt too. Click. The door was locked tight. Go away, I yelled. My voice was thin and weak. It did not sound like my voice. I am not going away, Leo shouted through the wood. You stole from me. You ran away like a little rat. You took my money. It was my money, I cried. Tears were falling down my face. I worked for it. You stole it from me. Go away. Leave me alone. I have a new life. I do not care about your new life, he laughed. It was an ugly laugh. I want $50,000, or I will ruin your new life. I will tell everyone who you really are. A runaway thief. $50,000. I did not have that money. Even if I did, I would not give it to him. He was a monster. He kicked the bottom of the door. Boom. The whole house seemed to shake. Buddy barked louder. I fell to my knees. I sat on the floor in the hallway. I pulled my knees to my chest. I felt like the 20-year-old girl again. The weak, lonely girl in the dirty city. The girl who could not fight back. I closed my eyes. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to wake up from this nightmare. I will break a window, Sarah, Leo threatened. Do not test me. I opened my eyes. I looked at the floor. Then I looked at Buddy. The little dog was standing bravely in front of the door. He was protecting our home. He was protecting me. A thought flashed in my mind. Why am I sitting on the floor? I am not that weak girl anymore. I am a grown woman. I survived the big city. I rode a bus into the unknown. I built a new life with my own 2 hands. I learned to bake. I found a good job. I found true love. I am strong. I am brave. I will not let this bad man destroy my home. I will not let him destroy my peace. Sometimes you have to fight for your peace. You have to stand up and say, no more. You can be strong too. When you are very afraid, that is the best time to be brave. I stood up. I wiped the tears from my face. My legs stopped shaking. I felt a hot fire in my chest. Anger replaced the fear. I walked into the kitchen. I picked up my phone from the counter. My hands were steady. I dialed the emergency number for the police. 911. A calm woman answered the phone. Emergency. What is your situation? My name is Chloe, I said clearly. I need help. A dangerous man is at my house. He is trying to break in. He is threatening me. We are sending officers now, Chloe. Stay on the line. Are your doors locked? The woman asked. Yes, I said. They are locked. I walked back into the hallway. I stood tall. The police are coming, Leo, I shouted through the door. They will be here in 2 minutes. You better run. There was a moment of silence. The kicking stopped. You are lying, he said, but his voice sounded unsure. Stay and find out, I answered firmly. Suddenly, I heard another sound. A familiar sound. The sound of a car engine in the driveway. The sound of tires on the wet gravel. It was Mark. He was home early from the bank. Because of the bad weather, they closed the bank early. Oh no, 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 no. The two worlds were crashing together. I looked through the small window again. I saw Mark get out of his car. He popped open a black umbrella to stay dry from the rain. He wore his gray work suit. He carried his briefcase. He looked so normal. He looked so innocent. Mark turned and saw the man on our porch. Mark stopped walking. He looked confused. I dropped my phone. I unlocked the door quickly. Click, click. I threw the red door open. I ran out onto the porch into the cold rain. Mark looked at me. "Chloe, what is going on? Who is this man?" Mark stepped closer. He looked at Leo. "Can I help you, sir?" "Are you lost?" Mark asked politely. Mark is always polite. Leo turned around. He looked at Mark. Leo smiled his ugly, cruel smile. He looked Mark up and down. "Are you the husband?" Leo asked. He laughed again. "Oh, this is rich. This is very funny." "I am her husband," Mark said. His voice became strong and serious. He stepped closer to me. "What do you want?" Leo pointed a dirty finger at me. "Do you know who you married, buddy? Do you know her name?" "Her name is Chloe," Mark said. "Wrong," Leo sneered. "Her name is Sarah. She is a street rat from the city. She stole my money and ran away in the middle of the night. She is a liar. She has been lying to you every single day." Mark froze. The umbrella in his hand shook a little. He turned his head slowly and looked at me. His blue eyes were wide. They were full of questions. "Chloe," Mark asked softly, "what is he talking about?" My heart broke into a million pieces. The moment I feared for years was finally here. The heavy rock fell out of my pocket and landed right on my toes. It crushed me. I looked into my husband's beautiful, kind eyes. I knew what I had to do. I had to stop running. I had to stop lying. The truth is painful. The truth is hard. But the truth is the only way to be completely free. I took a deep breath of the wet air. "He is telling the truth about my name, Mark," I said. My voice was loud enough to hear over the rain. "My real name is Sarah. This man is Leo. I knew him a long time ago. He was a very bad person. He hurt me. He kept me like a prisoner. I ran away to save my life. I changed my name to hide from him. I turned my face and glared at Leo. The fire in my chest burned brightly. But he is lying about the money," I shouted at Leo. "I took my own money. The money I earned washing dishes until my hands bled. You stole from me every week. You are the thief. You are the monster. And you have no power over me anymore." Leo's face turned red with anger. He took a step toward me with his fists closed. He wanted to hit me, but Mark dropped his umbrella. The umbrella rolled away in the wet grass. Mark stepped right in front of me. He was taller than Leo. He was broader than Leo. Mark pushed his chest out. He shielded me with his body. "Do not take another step toward my wife," Mark growled. I never heard Mark's voice sound so dangerous. It was amazing. He was protecting me. Leo stopped. He looked at Big Mark. He looked at Angry Mark. Leo swallowed hard. He was a coward. Bad men are usually cowards when someone strong stands up to them. Right at that moment, we heard the sound. Wee woot wee woo, wee woo. The police sirens cut through the noise of the rain. 2 police cars sped down our quiet street. Their lights flashed brightly. Red and blue. red and blue. The colors reflected on the wet road. The cars stopped in front of our house. 4 police officers jumped out. They wore dark blue raincoats. "Police, stay where you are," an officer yelled. Leo panicked. He looked left. He looked right. He tried to run across the wet grass. He slipped and fell in the mud. 2 police officers ran over and grabbed his arms. They pulled him up. They pulled his arms behind his back. Click, click. The metal handcuffs locked around his wrists. "Let me go," Leo shouted. He struggled, but the officers held him tight. A female officer walked up to the porch. "Are you Chloe?" she asked me. "Yes," I said. He was trying to break my door down. He was threatening to ruin my life. "We have him now, ma'am," the officer said kindly. "He has an active warrant for his arrest in the city anyway. He is a wanted criminal. He is going away for a long time. You are safe." They put Leo into the back of the police car. They shut the door. Bang. The police cars drove away down the street. The flashing lights disappeared into the gray rain. The sirens faded to nothing. The bad past was finally gone. Real life was safe again. But my problem was not gone. Mark and I stood on the porch in silence. The rain was getting lighter, but we were both wet. Mark's suit jacket was soaked. His hair was dripping water down his face. He picked up his umbrella from the grass. He did not look at me. "Let's go inside," Mark said quietly. His voice was empty. We walked inside the house. I closed the red door. I locked it. The house was warm. The smell of the chicken soup was still in the air, but everything felt completely different. The house felt huge and empty. Mark took off his wet jacket. He hung it on a hook. I took off my wet shoes. Buddy, the dog, ran up to Mark. Buddy wagged his tail. Mark bent down and petted the dog slowly. Then Mark walked into the living room. He sat down heavily on the yellow sofa. He put his face in his hands. He rubbed his eyes. He looked so tired. He looked so sad. I walked into the living room slowly. I stood a few feet away from the sofa. I wrung my hands together. My stomach felt sick. Silence filled the room. The silence was heavier than the heavy rock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The clock on the wall seemed very loud. I had to speak. I had to explain. "Mark," I whispered. He lowered his hands. He looked up at me. His blue eyes were full of pain. "It is a terrible thing to hurt the person you love most." "Is it true?" he asked. His voice cracked a little. "Is your name really Sarah?" "Yes," I said. The tears started to fall again. "It is true." "How much of it is a lie?" Mark asked. He sounded broken. "Is your favorite color green? Is your favorite food pasta? Do you actually love me? Or is everything a trick?" "No, no, Mark, please listen to me," I cried. I stepped closer and dropped to my knees in front of him. I did not touch him. I just looked up at him. "Only the name is a lie. Everything else is true. I love green. I love pasta. I love this house. And I love you." I love you with all my heart and soul. You are my whole world. Then why didn't you tell me? Mark asked. We have been married for 2 years. We share a bed. We share a life. Why did you lie to me every single day? Because I was a coward, I confessed. I let all the truth pour out of me, like water from a broken glass. I grew up with nothing, Mark. I had a horrible life. Then I met Leo. I thought he was a friend, but he was a monster. He abused me. He stole from me. He told me I was garbage. He told me I could never escape. When I ran away, I was so terrified he would find me. When I arrived in Sunnyvale, I wanted to erase that weak, abused girl. I wanted a fresh, clean start. The name Chloe was on a honey jar. I took it. I put on the mask. I wiped my nose with the back of my hand. I continued. Then I met you. You were so wonderful. You were so pure. You came from a good family. You had a good job. You were happy. I felt so dirty compared to you. I thought, if Mark knows the truth about my ugly past, he will not want me. He will see my dirt. He will leave me. I was so scared to lose you. Every day I woke up and thought, today is the day I will tell him. But I never found the courage. I am so sorry. I am so sorry I lied to you. I am so sorry I broke your trust. I bowed my head. I cried into my hands. My shoulders shook. I waited for him to yell. I waited for him to say, pack your bags. Get out of my house. The room was silent again. Only the sound of my crying. And the soft sound of rain on the window. 1 minute passed. 2 minutes passed. Waiting is very hard. When you wait for someone's judgment, time moves like a slow snail. But sometimes we must wait for love. Love requires patience. Love requires time to think. Finally, I felt a movement. Mark leaned forward. He reached out his hands. He gently took my hands away from my wet face. He held my hands tightly in his. His hands were warm. I looked up through my blurry tears. Mark was not angry. His eyes were soft again. There were tears in his eyes, too. You carried all that pain by yourself, Mark asked softly. For all these years, you carried that fear alone. I nodded slowly. Mark slid off the sofa. He got down on his knees, right in front of me on the rug. We were eye to eye. Sarah, he said. Hearing him say my real name felt like a shock of electricity. It felt strange, but it also felt incredibly right. It felt clean. Sarah, he said again, testing the word on his tongue. He smiled a very small, sad smile. It is a beautiful name. You are not angry, I asked. My voice was a tiny squeak. I am hurt that you did not trust me, Mark said honestly. Honesty is so important. I am hurt that you thought I would leave you because of your past. Your past is not your fault. You are a victim. You survived. You are brave to run away. You are brave to build a new life. He reached up and wiped a tear from my cheek with his thumb. I did not fall in love with a name, Mark said firmly. A name is just a bunch of letters. I fell in love with a woman. I fell in love with the woman who smiles at dogs. I fell in love with the woman who bakes amazing bread. I fell in love with the woman who holds my hand when we watch scary movies. I fell in love with your heart. Your heart is good. Your heart is true. Whether your name is Chloe or Sarah or Jane, you are my wife, and I am not going anywhere. A huge wave of relief washed over me. The heavy rock was finally gone. It disappeared into thin air. My chest felt incredibly light. I felt like I could float. I felt like I could fly. I threw my arms around his neck. I hugged him so tightly. I buried my face in his shoulder. He wrapped his strong arms around my back. He held me close. He kissed the top of my head. "Thank you," I cried. "Thank you for loving me. Thank you for understanding." "We do not have to hide anymore," Mark whispered. "No more secrets. From today, we live in the truth." "No more secrets," I promised. We stayed on the floor for a long time, just holding each other. Buddy walked over and licked my knee. Everything was going to be okay. Everything was going to be better than okay. Today is a new day. I woke up this morning and looked out the window. The storm is over. The rain is gone. The sky is bright blue again. The sun is shining on the white flowers in the front yard. They look beautiful and fresh. Mark woke up beside me. He stretched his arms. He looked at me with his warm smile. "Good morning, Sarah," he said happily. "Good morning, Mark," I answered. My voice was clear. My heart was light. It feels a little weird to be called Sarah again. After so many years of being Chloe, I have to get used to it. I have to tell Mrs. Green at the bakery. I have to tell my friends in the town. Some people will be confused. Some people will ask questions. But it is okay. I will tell them the truth. I am not ashamed anymore. My past was dark, but it brought me here. It brought me to this bright house. It brought me to this wonderful man. I had to walk through the dark rain to find the sunshine. Sometimes in life, we carry heavy secrets. We make mistakes. We run away. We put on masks to protect ourselves. We think we are alone. We think nobody will understand our pain. But you are not alone. And you do not have to hide forever. Truth is like the morning sun. It burns away the fog. It burns away the shadows. It is scary to tell the truth. It is scary to show people your real face. But when you do, you find freedom. If you are carrying a heavy secret, let it go. Talk to someone you trust. Take off the mask. Your past does not define who you are today. Your past is just a chapter in your book. It is not the end of the story. You are the writer of your life. Every morning is a blank page. You can write a beautiful new story today. You can be strong. You can be brave. Hard work makes you strong. Honesty makes you free. Love makes you safe. Never give up hope. Even when the monster knocks on your door, stand tall. Look the monster in the eye and say, "You do not own me. You deserve happiness. You deserve peace. You deserve a good, simple life. You can have it. Just keep moving forward. step by step, day by day. I am 28 years old. I live in a quiet town. I live in a small, pretty house with a red door. I live here with my amazing husband, Mark. I love to bake bread. I love to walk my dog. I love the color green. And my name is Sarah. Thank you for listening to my story. Keep going. You are wonderful. You are strong. You can do this too.